Hello everybody, it's Vinyl Rich here with a very good vinyl finds. I'm going to start it off with some BCLT I received. Now, a few videos back, I was wearing this t-shirt. And I don't want to hear that crap, it says at the bottom. It's a picture of me, kind of looking like, is it Eisenhower or the J. Edgar Hoover hearings? And I got this shirt too. Radio Raheem. Now I got this from somebody that watches my videos, and he bought a few from my Discogs page, and it's Art Proser. Now he obviously knows my channel because I have said many times that this is one of my favorite labels. And in the middle of those two shirts was this 7-inch Hardship, a band I was not familiar with, Inevitable Curse. It's a band from Portland, Oregon. Pretty cool artwork there. It's on white vinyl. Got a spider and a skull and a spider web. Now, I think the main guy is Rick Donaldson, his bass and vocals. This was released, I think, in 2022, but was recorded in 1999. Now, this band Hardship was the late 90s, early 2000s, maybe up to 2004 or something like that. And then this Rick Donaldson guy, he's been in a couple of bands after that. And I was not familiar with any of them. Now this record, it's very good. Kind of 80s punk rock. The guitar tones on this are fantastic, and the vocals are really, really good. And it has 2 songs on each side, and the last song is an instrumental. And very good, man. Very cool. Thank you, Art. Now, this next record is probably the record I'm most excited about this month. It's been about a month since I've done a Vinyl Finds. I've been trading in records and, trade in 8 records and get one. A lot of those have been like 80s punk rock, like the Crucifix. But this time I got a 1968 album, and it's Ivory. And it's, well, it looks like it's upside down. Yeah, it's the exact same picture both ways. A promo copy, not for sale, sticker on there. Now, this band, the easiest comparison is to Jefferson Airplane. This band has that West Coast psychedelic rock feel. With the exception of there's keyboards and some really good organ playing on this. And sometimes the guitar gets very fuzzy, which is something that Jefferson Airplane did not do. Now, this vocalist, there's a guy who's got a good voice, but this young lady here, right here, she's got a really powerful, strong voice. I would even say she's a better singer than Grace Slick. Now, if you like Jefferson Airplane, you're going to like this album. I don't know if it's a 5-star album. It's definitely a 4, 4.5. It doesn't have any really bad songs, which a lot of these 60s psych type bands, they always have a wanker or two on their albums, a vaudeville song or just some really cheesy stuff. This doesn't have any of that. Now, I must say, The two best songs are the first song on side one and the last song on side one. The first song is Silver Rains, very strong, great side, very powerful female vocals, and some fuzz guitar. And the last song is A Thought. Now this has some really good fuzz guitar. And it's hard for me to say which one is a better song, but if I had to pick one, I would probably pick A Thought, the last song. Now the next two songs that are probably the best on this album are the first song and the last song on side two. Eye of the Garden is the opening song, and then Gray November is the closing track. Now, that does not mean the songs in between these are bad. They're actually not. There's really not a bad song on this album. You got a few slower numbers. I think Losing Hold is one with the male vocals, and the female comes in, and it's the middle of that male female back and forwards. But yeah, this is a great album, man. This is one of those albums that has been on my want. There's a lot of these 60s albums that I would like to get, but I don't go out. I'm not going and getting them on Discogs, unless I find one real cheap, and you never do nowadays. But if I come across one, but this one was very high on my want list, and I found, I would say this cover maybe is it's close to a near mint, but I would rate it as a very good plus. But the vinyl is near mint, with the exception of the beginning of side two. There's a little bit of noise, but once the music plays, it's gone. Side one is near mint, and to top it off, it's a white label promo. Just a fantastic album, and I believe it says promotional, not for sale right there. So yeah, this is my find of the month for me. Now, along with that one, I picked up this James Brown Black Caesar. Now I would say this cover's kind of rough. It's got a little rip there. I don't know, it's in between that good plus to very good. I don't know. It opens up like this, and the record goes in like that. Side one of this is fantastic. I mean, it starts off with Down and Out in New York City. James Brown, kind of a typical 70, I think this came out in 73. It's a black exploitation film. And a typical funky song, you know. And then it has 3 instrumentals, and really funky instrumentals, really good keyboards and horns. And then it's got The Boss, another one with James Brown vocals, and it ends with Make It Good to Yourself. A really great, strong finish to side two. Side one I don't like as much. It's not bad though. It starts off with Mama Feel Good, and that's a song sung by Lynn Collins, which is this young lady here. And then it's got a couple of, I think it's got a couple of instrumentals, and a couple of the slower soul type songs that kind of resemble what James Brown was doing in the mid 60s kind of thing, or early 60s, I don't know. But I like the funky stuff better. But overall, this is a really good record. And it's on that Polydor with a picture of James on there. Now, I recently did 10 best albums of 1986. I was very happy with the 10 I picked. I'm kind of looking at 87. If I do 87, that might be my last year. And I mentioned on the 86 one that I do not have the Peter Gabriel album So And I think some people would argue that could be the best album of '86. I do have some 12-inch singles from that album, but I don't have the album, so I didn't include that. But looking at what albums came out in '86, there was one there that I kind of wanted, and I didn't have, and it's Stan Ridgway, The Big Heat. The singer from Wall of Voodoo. Now, I do have Drive, She Said, the first song on side 2, a 12-inch single of that. In fact, the sleeve of that single is this picture on the inner sleeve here. And also the first song on side 1 was a single. And they played both of these singles on K-Rock in LA. And those two songs are great. Some of the, like Pick It Up and Put It in Your Pocket, it's kind of quirky. I mean, Wall of Voodoo were quirky, but I don't think it's quite as good as Wall of Voodoo. This does kind of sound like it could have been the next Wall of Voodoo album with Stan Ridgway. I think it's Can't Stop the Show. It's kind of a slower number, and it reminds me of Interstate 15, the song they did on their album that has Mexican radio. Pile Driver, that song, I've only heard this a few times. That one, it's okay. You get Salesman. Overall, this is a really good album. I don't think it would have cracked my top 10 though. And I'm glad I have it, man, because I'm a big Stan Ridgway fan. It's got the lyrics, and I think it's probably on IRS, yeah. Very good album. Not as good as Ivory, but... And this is one I've picked up probably about a month ago. Probably a little bit after I made my last vinyl finds. And this is Fever Tree's debut. And this is I don't know, 60... I don't know. It doesn't say anywhere. I should have looked it up, but it doesn't matter. It's their debut. It has probably their biggest hit, San Francisco Girls. I think it cracked the top 40. I don't really remember it being played on the radio here in Bakersfield. I'm sure it did in San Francisco. This is a really good album. It starts out kind of mellow, and it kind of sounds like a cross between a horror soundtrack and a Clint Eastwood, one of those spaghetti western soundtracks. And then the songs go in. That's the first song, Imitation Situation. And then it goes into Where Do You Go? Now the vocals are quite striking. On some of the slower songs, it almost sounds like a Neil Diamond type vocal. This you know, it's not your typical rock vocals. But overall, this is a great album. I think it's their third album. It's got like a brown tree on it. I don't think I'll get any more of theirs, but I did want this one. This is probably my favorite of theirs. And this is the inner sleeve. And it's on that really cool uni label. Very cool. Now we're gonna some new records. And this next one, I don't know if I would call it the best album so far of 2024. It's probably the best album from 2024 that I bought. I don't know if I bought any others. Well, yeah, the next one is. And this is Fin Fin. And it's a National Threat. Now, I guess Rolling Stone recently did an article on the 50 worst album covers. I would say maybe there were 10 or so on there that pretty bad, but some of the others, there's no way they wouldn't even crack the top 200, you know. But this is a bad album cover. I mean, I didn't even know what this was for the longest time, but I guess it's a guy laying here on stage, and you got a pair of shoes with one of the guitar players. But that's terrible. And the back's not much better, but it is better. Now, side A of this, you put it on, and the first song is really cool. The second song, I think it's FM, and then it goes into Nothing to Say and Never Sleep and Snake Oil, Kill Your Parents and High Tech. And it sounds like the 1980s LA punk band, The Hypnotics. It has that kind of vibe to it. It's like, okay, that's cool, you know. Then side two, I put on, and the first song, Priority 2, and the second song, Dumb, kind of have like a Weirdos vibe, like the 70s LA punk band, The Weirdos. And the rest of side two kind of has a combination of the Weirdos and Hypnotics are creeping in, and I don't know, the Weasels, the Dogs, you know, they would have fit right in with one of those punk shows that I used to go to in the 70s. But yeah, overall, this is my favorite album so far from 2024. I think it's fantastic. It's just a really fun album. Didn't come with any lyrics or anything like that. Came with a nice audiophile sleeve. That's what the labels look like. And I ordered that. I think it was through No, I can't remember. I ordered it from a record store. Might have been Goner Records, actually. And this next one is a pre-order that I ordered months ago. And it's Total Hell on Total Punk Records. It's this guy here, D.D. Death. Drew Owen is the drummer. He's the guy behind Sick Thoughts. He's the one that drew all the art. He's one of the singers. The bass player is the other singer. And they got two guitar players. This is their second album. This one sounds a little more metal-y, but not fast metal, kind of a slower, well, it's kind of like that 80s mix between metal and punk. But then it has some moments where it's definitely a slower metal sound. But really, really well done. And yeah, it's fun. And this is the insert. Another illustration by Drew Owen. Now, I don't know if I like this one more than the first. They're very similar. The first one kind of sounded like, it started off with kind of like that death metal. I don't know, you know, the vocals are, but they were intelligible. And then it slowly went into like basically a punk rock album. This one seems to have more metal leanings. And it's on black vinyl, and these are what the labels look like. Now, for packing, they packed this record from Total Punk, another Total Punk record, and the band is Foster Care, and the name of the album is El Abuso. And man, this is a glossy cover, and it really shows the fingerprints. One thing I don't like about this type of a cover. And this cover's not really that great. I mean, I know what it is. It's someone reaching for the phone and this intruder's grabbing their hand to stop them. And the back sucks. And it's got this insert. This is another band, Foster Care, that I'm not familiar with. I do follow Total Punk Records on Bandcamp, and I was alerted when this came out, but I didn't buy it. I don't buy as many records that I used to. And I believe this is a band from New York City. And it's really good. It's more muffled, the sound. compared to this one, the guitars are cleaner, and this one kind of has more of the way the early Black Flag, the Damaged, and maybe the Six Pack Single, the way those guitars and bass kind of all blended into one sound. This is more along those lines. But I really like the way side A ended. Really cool. It's got, like, the fourth song is interlude, but it's basically an instrumental, and it's kind of like an intro to the fifth song, Black Brain. And then the last song, Staring at the Bag, it's got synthesizers and some clarinet in it. And it blends, it's just part of the sound. And the side A, I like the way it ended. It made the whole side very unique. And side B is very similar. It ends with some distortion and sounds like synthesizers, but they didn't give the synthesizer guy credit on this one. But overall, very good. And I can't argue with free. And they also packed this one, but it didn't have a record. It's just a cover. And I think there was one cardboard sheet for packing. So yeah, that Total Hell was packed very well. And yeah, that's it, man. That's my vinyl finds for this past month. I think Total Hell, that Fin, and the Fever Tree are ones I bought online, or I paid cash money for. The other ones were ones that I did a trade, with the exception of this one, which was VCLT. And this did come with a nice little note. Take care, everybody. And thank you, Art Presser. Man, did you see the Olympics? That they got a biological male. Supposedly there's two. And it would be a disaster if the two biological males end up fighting for the gold and silver in the women's boxing. Now, I mean, a biological male has greater body mass, greater bone density and mass, greater lung capacity. They're stronger. They're usually bigger. And as a father of 4 daughters, I just don't think it's right having a biological male compete with biological females. Now you can say, oh, that's transgender. No, it's not. Though I don't go on Rachel's stream much anymore, I was an early supporter of hers, and I suggested she do a video called Gender Benders, and I did my take on gender benders. And I was an early supporter of Rachel, but that doesn't mean they should be competing with females in the Olympics, you know. But anyways, this one, it's a guy that's now a woman, which is fine. I have no issue with that. He was boxing, or she was boxing, this female from Italy, 2 punches, and the Italian gal just gave up. She said she had never been hit that hard before in her life. And it's I guess to be in the Olympics, all they go by is your passport. This fighter has been eliminated from boxing before because the DNA came back positive for being a male. And it's just, I don't know. It's terrible. I'm looking forward to watching the track and field, though. Take care, everybody.